Well, this is an extraordinary story this evening. It's not as big a shock as it might be in a normal week.
Manchester United have officially sacked manager Rúben Amorim after a turbulent and ultimately disappointing campaign that saw the Red Devils crash out of Europe and slump to their lowest league finish in decades. The decision comes after weeks of speculation, intense pressure from fans, and behind-the-scenes frustrations that made Amorim's position increasingly untenable. This abrupt end marks yet another failed managerial experiment in the post-Sir Alex Ferguson era, leaving the club at a crossroads once again. When Amorim was appointed in November 2024, there was widespread optimism around Old Trafford. The Portuguese tactician had impressed at Sporting CP, winning a Primeira Liga title and showcasing a brand of progressive football that caught the attention of Europe's elite. United, still recovering from the underwhelming tenure of Erik ten Hag, believed Amorim was the long-term solution, a young, modern coach who could finally bring stability and an identity back to the club. But what was supposed to be a revival quickly turned into a nightmare. Despite early backing from the board and a clear mandate to rebuild, Amorim struggled to adapt to the intensity and expectations of managing a club of Manchester United's size. His tactics were questioned, his man management scrutinized, and his ability to get the best out of a talented yet underperforming squad ultimately fell short. Tactical misalignment and strategic failures. One of Amorim's major shortcomings at United was his insistence on applying the same tactical framework he used at Sporting, a 3-4-3 system heavily reliant on wing-backs, positional rotations, and vertical passing. But the squad he inherited was ill-suited for such a system. For instance, his controversial decision to deploy Matheus Cunha, one of United's marquee signings, in a deeper midfield role baffled fans and analysts alike. Cunha, known for his explosiveness and attacking instincts, appeared isolated and ineffective, with many criticizing Amorim for stifling his best qualities. Similarly, United's once reliable wide players, including Alejandro Garnacho and Jadon Sancho, often looked lost in a system that asked more of them defensively than they were capable of contributing. The tactical rigidity soon became a source of frustration in the dressing room. Several players reportedly questioned Amorim's reluctance to adapt his setup to suit the Premier League, which is known for its intensity and physicality, qualities that United's performances sorely lacked under his leadership. Internal discord and fractured relationships. Amorim's struggles weren't confined to the pitch. Behind closed doors, tensions were simmering. Reports emerged of strained relationships between the manager and key players, with Marcus Rashford being one of the most high-profile casualties of Amorim's reign. The England international was dropped from the squad on multiple occasions with no clear explanation. Sources close to the club indicated that Rashford's attitude in training was questioned, while others suggested it was merely a tactical decision. Regardless of the reason, the public nature of his omissions fueled speculation about a breakdown in communication and mutual respect between player and manager. In addition, there were rumors that Amorim's communication style, direct and often blunt, did not sit well with certain members of the squad. His scathing post-match comments following a 3-0 loss to Brighton, where he referred to the team as probably the worst in the club's history, only widened the gap between him and the dressing room. This perceived lack of diplomacy and emotional intelligence further eroded morale in a team already struggling for identity and confidence. Disastrous results and historic lows. Ultimately, football is a results business, and Amorim's numbers at United made for grim reading. 15th place finish in the Premier League, United's worst in over 50 years. Out of both domestic cup competitions by the quarter-final stages. Europa League final loss to Tottenham Hotspur, the fourth defeat to Spurs that season. Only 49 points from 38 league matches. 17 losses, including shocking defeats to relegation-threatened sides. For a club with United's pedigree, these numbers are catastrophic. Amorim was brought in to take the club forward, but instead, it regressed, both statistically and emotionally. The style of play lacked imagination, the defense was disorganized, and the team showed little of the resilience and drive that used to define Manchester United. The sacking, a necessary but painful decision. Club executives, led by CEO Omar Berreta and football director Dan Ashworth, were initially reluctant to make another mid-year managerial change. But by the final weeks of the season, the writing was on the wall. Fan protests outside Carrington, boos echoing around Old Trafford, and growing discontent within the squad left the board with no choice. A statement released by the club read, "Manchester United can confirm that Rúben Amorim has departed his role as first-team manager. The club thanks Rúben for his efforts during a difficult campaign. We remain committed to returning this club to the top of world football and will now begin a thorough search for a new manager." Amorim also issued a short farewell note, "This is a club with an incredible history and I am honored to have had the chance to manage it. While I couldn't meet the expectations, I take full responsibility and wish Manchester United the very best going forward." What's next for United? The search for Amorim's successor has already begun. Early favourites include Graham Potter, Julian Nagelsmann, Xavi Hernandez, and Massimiliano Allegri. Each candidate presents a unique philosophy, and the club's next decision will be critical not just for on-pitch success, but for restoring faith among supporters. Manchester United's recruitment model, youth development pipeline, and overall football structure also need re-evaluation. Too often, promising signings have failed to flourish, and young talents have been mismanaged. Fans are calling not just for a managerial change, but for a comprehensive cultural overhaul, a return to the values that once made United the most feared and admired club in world football. Another chapter in a troubled era. Rúben Amorim's sacking is another chapter in the long, painful story of Manchester United's post-Ferguson identity crisis. It's a story of ambition without alignment, of promising beginnings derailed by poor execution, and of a club still chasing the ghosts of its past while struggling to secure its future. As Amorim exits stage left, United must now ask itself, who are we trying to be? Until that question is answered with clarity and backed by bold, coherent decisions, the revolving door of managers may keep spinning. For now, one thing is certain, the Amorim era is over. And Manchester United, once again, are starting over.